Welcome back to the podcast, the Evil Dungeon Master Universe podcast. I am your host, Vince. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday, and it's time for another podcast. Everything's doing well on my end. Hopefully doing well on your end. We had a great stream last night. If you want to go to my channel and check it out, evildm.com is where my website is. We had fun talking about D6 versus D20 systems. We did our Would You Rather. It was a lot of good times had last night. Jeff and I had some fun. Glad to be back in the saddle for doing streaming. Ask the DM at theevildm.com is my email address where you can contact me, or Facebook. Actually, fb.me/theevildungeonmaster is the easiest way to find my Facebook page and communicate with me. So, cool. But on to the podcast today. Thank you to those that comment and ask me about different weapons and things like that to talk about. But today, when I was looking at an email, looking through the book, deciding which one I wanted to do, the Sword +2 Dragon Slayer actually caught my eye because it reminded me of a campaign when I was in college that I ran, and the Dragon Slayer sword was the, I guess, quote-unquote, MacGuffin that they had to find. It's a really interesting weapon that would be a lot of fun to be the one thing you need in your campaign. So let's read it real quick because there's a couple things about it I found interesting. Again, so the +2 Dragon Slayer has a +4 against any sort of true dragon, and against one sort will do triple damage. So 3 to 6 +4, or 7 to 40 points of damage. Note that an unusual sword with intelligence and alignment will not be made to slay dragons of the same alignment, and we'll get to that in just a second. Determining dragon types by a random roll, excluding the singular ones of Bahamut and Tiamat. So it gives you a list of dragons, but it doesn't give you a way to roll, so thanks. 4, 5. So just roll a d10 and do black, chaotic evil, blue, lawful evil, brass, chaotic good, bronze, lawful good, copper, chaotic good, gold, lawful good, green, lawful evil, red, chaotic evil, silver, lawful good, and white, chaotic evil. So roll a d10, and that's how you determine the sword. Now, the part where it says unusual swords with intelligence and alignment, that refers to when I did that podcast with Will about intelligent weapons and stuff like that. So, 1 out of every 4 sword is probably going to be an intelligent type sword. If you scroll down further, unusual sword, it has a topic for it itself. When you roll a magic sword, you also roll a d100 to see if it is an unusual, intelligent, and with extra powers. 3 out of 4 are not, so generally 1 out of the 4 is going to be. Now that phrase right there is where you say you roll this sword up, you got a sword +2 Dragon Slayer, boom, you roll on the chart, it is now a sword that's intelligent, and let's say it was determined to be a Black Dragon Fighter sword, the Dragon Slayer sword. So if it's chaotic evil, now if you roll up the sword to see if it has this an intelligence, which it can be chaotic evil, and then you roll on a little chart, you get the sword together, it's, has a couple of primary abilities, whatever, and you get to the alignment under table 2 for sword alignment, and you boom, chaotic evil. Well, guess what? You're not going to be able to slay Black Dragon of chaotic evil, so it doesn't really become a Dragon Slayer unless somehow a Black Dragon is no longer a chaotic evil in your campaign. Which, it's your campaign. If you want to make a dragon a different alignment than it is, why not? Who says it can't be? I mean, the book says it can't be. Well, the book doesn't actually say it can't be. It just gives you a guideline of what it should be. So it's up to you to determine what it would be in your campaign. So I had this campaign that made me think of this one campaign where the sword was the MacGuffin. They had to travel into an ancient mountain where the lost weapon resided, the Dragon Slayer, as we just called it. And the villagers were the little village that was outside the mountainside where the sword was located, based upon rumors, said that there was no easy task. Climbing the mountain itself was a challenge in itself, obviously. And then once you got there, there was a spectral paladin that guarded this Dragon Slayer, warning off, I should say, anyone who seeks his power. And the town needed a hero because this dragon was in the area just kind of ripping things to shred. And was demanding various things like he wanted a sacrifice, he wanted food, he wanted this, he wanted gold. And this black dragon, I believe it was just a pain in the ass to the town. And I actually had the dragon attack the town, the village, whatever you want to call it, just once, so the players got an idea of what the dragon was and what it looked like, and kind of gave them the I want to say the way gave them a kind of an excuse to help out because now they're involved. Because a lot of times players don't want to get involved. They're just like, oh well, yeah, we're good people, but I gotta go. My mom's calling me, or something dumb like that. And again, D&D's, when it was originally created, was supposed to be a game about heroes adventuring out, saving the world. For, gold, glory, and fame is what the purpose of it was. It never was intended for evil characters, though you could play them. So uh, I set it up so that the players would get involved in the whole situation. Now that they're in this village, they're staying there for a little while because they have to rest and stuff like that. And of course, players will always make a friendly NPC person be there. They may like someone. So what I did was I had the Black Dragon attack, and some people died, and they had to fight with the village against this Black Dragon and not win, obviously. But the dragon left before he did some real damage to the party. They got a good couple hits in on him, but he flew away, which made them angry. So now there was the hook to get them in. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but it did. So again, I don't like railroading, so I like to involve the players by letting them experience the situation, and this is one of the times that they experienced it. So now that they are involved, they started listening to the rumors about the sword in the mountain that has a dragon slayer, and that's the only thing they could do. They sent various people, their village champions, to find this sword that have never come back, and they think the spectral guardian, aka the paladin, is not deeming these people worthy enough of holding this sword. So there's the mystery behind that. There's also this paladin blocking the sword, which makes them wonder, are they worthy enough for this sword? So they figured a way to travel up the mountainside and to go into this cave where the sword was being held. And then they met the spectral guardian, who challenged them. And I had asked a few questions and how they would handle situations. And then the paladin said that he wanted them to retrieve this flower that was on the northern side of the mountain at the most highest peak. And if you could retrieve that flower and bring it back to him, that'll prove that they are worthy to hold this sword. At first, they were like, no, just give me the damn sword. And the paladin was just, no, I will fight and kill you if I need be to protect this sword. So, after a little bit of negotiation and talking with the paladin, they decided to go get this flower. And to try to get to the flower was kind of a pain in the ass because it was a high tip part of the mountain. So, walking wasn't going to work. So, they had to repel. They had to figure out a way how to throw their grappling hooks up and try to climb the side of the mountain to get to where this flower was. But the thing was, the flower was guarded by this giant eagle-like creature that I made up. I think I called it Man Eagle because he was the size of a man, but he was mostly just an eagle, and he was protecting the flower mostly because he had a nest up there, not really the flower. He can give a crap about the flower. It's because he had a nest up there, which they found out. And when they finally reached the top of the peak, after fighting the eagle on the rope while they're climbing and killing the eagle, that the eagle has a nest with some baby birds in it. So now they have to decide what they wanted to do with those birds: leave them alone to die, kill them right now, or take them in as kind of like a pet and maybe bring them to the village. And so the players thought the best course of action was just slaughter the birds because the parent was dead. The children would starve to death anyway, and they didn't have a way to take the birds down. So they picked the flower and they went back to the paladin, and the paladin said, "You got the flower?" And he's like, "Yeah, we did." And he said, "What of the birds?" And then the players went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "There were birds up there. Did they bother you?" And then one of the fighters said, "Well, proudly we slain the bird. He attacked us, we defended." And then the paladin was like, well, that was your test. You were not supposed to slay the bird. The bird had a family. It was just kind of a weird situation that I wanted to see what they would do. And the um, the players were like, well, the birds attacked us. We were defending ourselves. We did not initiate an attack. We saw that the bird had babies, and we decided to dispatch of the babies because it would be better than just leaving them to die and starve to death. The paladin really did not like this answer at all. He figured that they should have not attacked the bird, even though the bird attacked them. And he did not like the fact that they just slayed the baby bird. So the paladin and them engaged in a kind of a battle, which turns out that the paladin was actually a lawful evil paladin, not even a lawful good paladin, as they found out when using certain weapons and stuff that it was lawful evil. And then once they figured this out, they were able to destroy the special guardian and get the sword. And then they had the challenge of going to figure out where this dragon was. And then the dragon was somewhere in the mountains that they had to figure out. So there was a whole thing about that going on. But the story was to get the sword, and that was what they did eventually, as you hear. So tell me how you use this sword in your campaign. What do you think of this sword? Uh, I don't know many people because I've played in a bunch of games. I don't think people have ever given out a Dragon Slayer sword. I thought it was the coolest sword in the world because Dragon Slayer sword sounds awesome, and going to slay a dragon in Dungeons and Dragons is, kind of cool. So tell me what you think about the item today, and want to start a conversation. Just want to say, if you're watching this video on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. A lot of viewers come by and they like, but they don't subscribe or they forget to subscribe by the time the video's over. So hit that subscribe button and move forward with this on this channel and our journey through Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, keeping those fires lit. So I'm going to head out. Keep it original, keep it old school. Good night. God bless, and keep those fires lit for AD&D.